My name is Danielle Nichols, and I'm originally from Newfoundland, and I have done all my post-secondary education at Memorial. I have worked at Memorial now for 20 years, first at the Marine Institute, and then I started in 2003 at the Department of Ocean Sciences. I do a variety of things from academic program officer to research marketing manager, providing tours, but my favorite aspect of my job is the delivery of public education programs. So the Department of Ocean Science has very large outreach initiatives that they take part in yearly. When I started in 2003, I took over the outdoor visitors program, and it has expanded over the years, and now we welcome up to 22,000 visitors annually. In 2011, because of the construction of our Cold Ocean Deep Sea Research Facility, our summer programs were sort of canceled for a little bit because we couldn't have anybody on site. So this led into the development of a traveling touch tank so we could fulfill the commitment that we had made to organizations, whether they're summer camps or at Parks Canada or wherever we used to go, or people who come visit us. And that has still developed into an offering that we do. So we do STEM education in the schools. We participate in stuff like science rendezvous, Let's Talk Science. We also help out, do World Ocean Day events on the beach. And I guess the third thing that was led into the creation of our school programming. So not only STEM days in school, but now we try to deliver field trips to high school students. So our high school program was developed in collaboration with the Oceans Learning Partnership. They came to me and said, are you able to do some field trips? And initially I thought, no, this is not possible. We're not set up for this. But I convinced the head at the time, Dr. Fletcher, that we could use an old space and if I could get it renovated. So I basically begged, borrowed, and stole from everybody else. And in the fall of 2013, we delivered a pilot program to about 130 students within the Avalon. And it became so popular that we're up to 800 students in the fall, and we deliver again in the winter for another 100 or 200 students. And we've expanded into a 4-hour field trip. So the idea is that we wanted to bring about marine education in the school curriculum. I noticed when my kids were going through school that they knew more about the rainforest than they did about the marine environment. And I wanted to look at ways that we could have them participate in stuff doing with the marine environment that surrounds them. So that they'd know about careers, they'd know about the organisms out there and the processes that affect the marine environment. So we decided we'd do some hands-on lab that would match the learning outcomes in the school. So we worked with the Teachers Association and the Department of Education to create these labs based on the learning outcomes. So when they come down, they spend about 4 hours during their visit. They come in, they learn all about the ocean science, they learn about Memorial University, and they learn about our programs, which is most important. So they learn about, you could have a BSc in ocean science or in our joint major in marine biology. And then they get to participate in these hands-on labs. So every hour they switch labs and they'll do things from fish dissections to live dichotomous keys. They get to work doing seaweed morphology. They look at ecosystems and adaptations. So it gives them a real feel for the marine environment that surrounds them. We were all ready to go with our winter offering of the school program, and we had the schools all booked to come in. And once we realized we were closing down, we didn't know for how long. First, we suspended it. And then after a while, we thought, okay, well, it's just not going to be offered right now. So what can we do in its place? How can we still engage these students? The teachers were asking if we had anything else we could offer. So we also work with the Oceans Learning Partnership in the training of pre-service teachers with the Faculty of Education here at MUN. And we were looking at online resources for these teachers. So what could we do to them to get them ready to go out into the school to deliver this kind of hands-on activities in the school. So in developing those resources, we realized we could probably create these online labs. So over the summer, I was able to get some graduate students to help with the taking what we already had and how could we deliver it virtually and also have it still interactive so that the students still felt like they were there, they were part of the team, they were up close and personal with these animals and organisms. So originally we got hold of a 3D camera and we were able to create a 3D model of all of our educational areas at the Ocean Science Center. And then when we had that built, then we started building in the other aspects of the program. So we're looking at the dichotomous key. We'll have the instructor get together with the student and we'll say to the class, and interact with them directly through things like Slido to ask questions so that they all can answer on their smartphones or whatever, and they're up on the board in the classroom, so they really feel like they're one-on-one with us. And they'd pick the organism that they'd like to work on, and then they'd go through the questions with the instructor as if they were there at the lab. And the instructor is actually able to talk about the feel of the organism, you know, what she sees when she looks at the organisms, and we have it under a digital scope so that they're able to see it up close. For the fish dissection, the same thing. You know, the instructor, the grad TA will say, hey, can you guys identify this organ here, so that they feel like they're part of the process. Not only do we get to keep interacting with all those schools that we've been interacting with over the last 8 years, but now we're reaching more schools. So now we have the ability to reach schools past the Avalon. Before we'd have schools come in from Bonavista, from Arnold's Cove, Trepassey, but we couldn't seem to get past that point within the island. By having the virtual program, this year we were able to connect with schools in Bay d'Espoir, on the West Coast in Stevensville and Pasadena, and in central Newfoundland in Grand Falls. So our hope is that we'll be able to take this program and keep the virtual running once we're able to come back face-to-face with students. Absolutely. We got to actually work with the Department of Education, and they're rolling out the new curriculum for Biology 3201 in the high schools. And so we worked with them and all the teachers that are currently piloting this new program. And by working with them, they brought their classes in. We're able now to train all the teachers that are coming out for the fall with this new curriculum. The schools that we've never connected with before, they were delighted because they've never had an opportunity to have such a field trip exposure for them. And even though it was virtual, I think they really benefited. When the pandemic started and we had to turn to this virtual stuff, it was something I wanted to do for a very long time, but the task was daunting, and I think many people would feel the same way. Okay, one, you know, what programs are you going to use? Are you going to use Zoom? Are you going to use Google Meet? How does this work with the audience you're trying to connect with? And you start, it's baby steps, but you figure out through the process. And often you think it's going to be harder than it is. Once you really get down and look at, how do I take this thing we did in person and make it so it's fun and entertaining? After a while, you realize it's almost seamless as long as you use the technology to your advantage. Have that person in front that's engaging, have them asking questions and connecting with the audience at their level, using such things as Slido or other kind of seminar or questionnaire type kind of things that they could use to interact with them directly.